They said no one besides family can enter the house.
It was an extremely hot summer day. When I visited my newly married daughter, she emerged from the storage shed in her in-laws' yard, looking gaunt. When I peeked inside, I saw a mattress laid out. She revealed that she had been sleeping in the shed, where the temperature had soared beyond 40 degrees Celsius. What kind of treatment is this for my daughter? I won't stand for it. Furious after hearing everything, I took her away, disappearing from their sight. As a result, her in-laws turned pale, and in the end, they were trembling with fear. My name is Beth Anderson, 60 years old. I work for a local company, handling office duties. My husband passed away when I was young, and I raised my daughter, Billy, all on my own. There were plenty of hardships, but we always supported each other and overcame them. Billy grew into a resilient and kind woman. When she landed a job at a major company after graduating from college, we celebrated together. Eventually, Billy got married and moved out. Is Billy doing well? Surely, she's being cherished in her new home, right? I suddenly recalled the time before her wedding, when our families first met. Billy's fiancé was Ash Jordan, a nationally renowned professional golfer. He was from the same region, and he told us he was based locally. I was surprised, never expecting her to bring home such a famous person. They met at a golf event, it seemed. At the meeting of our families, Ash looked me straight in the eye.
I vow to protect Billy for life once we're married. I want to walk through life with her.
Looking at my daughter, I saw that she, too, had a determined expression.
I want to marry him as well.
Overjoyed, I supported their decision. Ash's parents seemed nice too, and his father said,
"Once they marry, they'll live with us, but we'll take good care of your daughter."
I was confident that I could entrust my beloved daughter to them. So, Billy married into their family, moving 3 hours away from me. Their wedding was grand, with many of Ash's sponsors attending. Though I felt lonely after Billy left, I consoled myself, knowing she was happy. For a while after Billy got married, she would reply immediately whenever I messaged her to ask how she was doing. However, about a month into her marriage, her responses started to taper off. Concerned, I checked Ash's official social media, and they seemed to be attending various events and parties together, looking like a happy couple. Seeing pictures of Billy smiling put my mind at ease. I convinced myself that no news was good news. Then, more than half a year after Billy had married, on a summer day, I wanted to ask her about a gift for her in-laws, so I called her for the first time in a while. But all I heard was a message saying, "This number is no longer in service." Now that I think about it, she hasn't replied to my messages for a while either. Is she really doing okay? Could something have happened to her? Unable to shake my anxiety, I rushed to her new home to check on her. I parked near her in-laws' house and rang the doorbell. But no one answered, possibly because they were out. It was a scorching day, with temperatures above 35 degrees Celsius. Wiping away the sweat, I pressed the doorbell again. Suddenly, I heard a thud from the yard. Panicked, I hurried to the garden, wondering if someone was there. "What?" Billy. There she was, crawling out of the storage shed.
Mom.
Her eyes widened in surprise when she saw me. Her face was so emaciated that I barely recognized her. She wobbled, as if dizzy, and I rushed over to support her. When I glanced inside the shed, the sight left me speechless. What on earth is this? What's going on? Inside the cramped 2-square-meter shed, a mattress was laid out. There were water bottles and clothes scattered around, suggesting that she had been living there. When I looked at the thermometer hanging on the shed's wall, it read over 40 degrees Celsius. Don't tell me. You've been living in this shed? Why? Tears welled up in her eyes.
They told me not to enter the house because I'm not family.
She covered her face with her hands and began to sob. I quickly took her to a shaded area and handed her a cold drink. What's going on? Tell me everything. I urged her, and between sobs, Billy began to speak.
Right after we got married, my in-laws told me to quit my job. I refused at first, but they held a grudge and started treating me harshly.
She explained that her father and mother-in-law began bullying her after she refused to quit her job. They told her they wouldn't recognize her as a daughter-in-law if she didn't obey. Eventually, under immense pressure, she quit her job, but their abuse only escalated.
A month into the marriage, my father-in-law said, "You're not family, so you can't stay in the house. Live in the shed."
She wasn't allowed to eat with the family, and they gave her leftovers. She couldn't even use the bathroom, so she bathed with the garden hose. Her once shiny hair was now damaged and brittle.
My mother-in-law said I could only enter the house to do chores. They made me do all the housework under supervision, like a servant.
That's awful. Didn't Ash try to protect you? Billy shook her head.
He always turned a blind eye. Whenever I tried to talk to him, he ignored me. But for events and parties, he made me go and pretend like we were a happy couple.
I didn't want to believe what she was telling me, but her gaunt appearance and the state of the shed made it clear that it was all true. Why did you let them treat you like this? You should have left sooner. Billy began to cry even harder, trembling as she spoke.
Because my father-in-law said he could get you fired at any time.
What? Me?
Yeah. He said he's connected to someone important at your workplace and could get you fired whenever he wanted. I couldn't let that happen because of me.
What a horrifying thought. My daughter had endured this nightmare for my sake.
And Ash.
Listening to everything she had to say, I finally snapped. How dare they treat my daughter like this? I will never forgive them. I placed a hand on my daughter's shoulder and looked her straight in the eyes. We're leaving this place right now. Come on, let's go. Without delay, I put her in my car and we drove away from her in-laws' house. And just like that, my daughter and I disappeared from their lives. To ensure they couldn't track us down, I took her to a hotel to rest.
It's been so long since I've slept in a bed.
Hearing such a heartbreaking comment, I watched her fall into an exhausted sleep and began planning my revenge on them. That night, I received a call from my son-in-law. Ignoring it, I was soon bombarded with calls from my in-laws as well. But I didn't answer any of them. According to the neighbors, the day after I took Billy away, the three of them were making a scene in front of my empty house. Still, I refused to answer their calls. 3 days later, I finally decided to answer a call from Ash.
Finally. You're the one who took Billy, right?
He shouted angrily the moment I picked up, showing none of the kindness he once had. I remained calm and composed as I answered, "Yes, I did."
Give her back now. She has to attend today's charity event with me.
He snapped at me impatiently, but I ignored him and demanded to know why Billy had been mistreated at his parents' house. Ash scoffed.
That's her fault for not getting along with my parents.
That's no excuse to make her live in a boiling hot shed.
She's lucky she even had a roof over her head. Anyway, just return that servant of yours already. My parents are furious.
Ignoring his ranting, I hung up. A few hours later, I found myself at the venue of the charity event that Billy and her husband were supposed to attend. I kept a low profile and watched from a distance as Ash and his parents were being interviewed. They were asked, "Where's your lovely wife today?" and the three of them looked pale, fumbling for words like, "She's not feeling well." At that moment, I stepped onto the stage confidently. "Excuse me, everyone, may I have your attention? I am Billy's mother. There's something I need to share with you all." When I greeted the audience that way, attention quickly turned to me with curious murmurs of "What's going on?" From the corner of the venue, Ash and his parents looked shocked, their faces filled with fear. "I have something my daughter would like to share with all of you. Please turn your attention to the screen," I announced. As I spoke, I operated the computer on stage, and Billy's face appeared on the large screen prepared for the event. I had set up a live broadcast connecting the venue to the hotel where Billy was hiding. After a brief greeting, Billy got straight to the point.
Everyone, since becoming Ash's wife, I've endured terrible treatment at home. I wasn't allowed inside, as they said, no outsiders, and I was forced to live in the storage shed, even in the sweltering summer heat.
When I projected the photos of the shed, which I had taken when rescuing her, the audience began to murmur in shock.
I've also recorded the verbal abuse from my husband and in-laws.
She played the audio from a recorder.
Don't get so high and mighty, you outsider.
You're not family. You're a slave.
As the cruel words echoed through the venue, the three of them rushed toward the stage, trying to stop the playback. But the other participants blocked their path, preventing them from interfering.
This is all fake. Everyone, it's a lie.
In desperation, Ash shouted, but I calmly played the phone recording from earlier.
She should be grateful she even has a roof over her head. Anyway, return that servant of yours immediately.
His voice echoed across the room, and Ash's face, which had been red with anger, turned pale. I took a deep breath and grabbed the microphone. The reason my daughter obeyed their demands was because her father-in-law threatened her, saying, "I can get your mother fired whenever I want." My daughter endured all this to protect me. Isn't that right? I glared at the father-in-law, who let out a strange sound, of. But after investigating, I found out that there was no connection between you and my company's higher-ups. You lied and tormented my daughter, didn't you? As my voice cracked with emotion, the audience erupted in condemnation. Then, Billy spoke again.
But that's not all I want you to know. This is what I witnessed while running an errand for my mother-in-law.
At her cue, I displayed a photo on the screen. It showed Ash, arm in arm with another woman, entering a hotel. One of the attendees shouted, "Hey, isn't that Monica Christine, the pro golfer?" Upon realizing that Ash's affair was not only with another woman but also with a fellow professional golfer, the crowd became even more agitated. Billy continued calmly.
I was betrayed by my husband and mistreated by my in-laws. I can't take it anymore. I'm divorcing my husband and cutting ties with his family.
Ash and his in-laws shrank under the glares and condemnation from the crowd at the charity event. At that moment, a man stepped forward. It was Joshua, the CEO of a major local company and Ash's top sponsor. Ash's face lit up, but Joshua spoke angrily.
Ash, I'm very disappointed. To think you would treat the daughter of my old friend this way.
What? Your friend's daughter?
Yes, Joshua and I were classmates and close friends. We reconnected at your wedding.
No way.
Ash and his parents turned deathly pale, trembling uncontrollably. With a twisted smile, Joshua declared,
Ash, I'm pulling my sponsorship.
No. Please, Joshua, reconsider.
Right after Ash's plea, voices echoed from the audience. We're pulling out too. So are we, as one sponsor after another followed suit. Ash and his in-laws, now panicked and pale, rushed over to Billy and fell to their knees.
Billy, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'll end things with her, and I'll treat you right from now on.
But even as they groveled, my daughter only shook her head. Then, they turned to me.
Please, convince Joshua to reconsider. If I lose my sponsorships, I won't be able to continue as a professional golfer.
I raised my voice firmly. I will never forgive you for what you did to my daughter. I don't care what happens to any of you. After bowing to the audience, I left the venue. Later, Billy and Ash's divorce was finalized. The truth about what Ash and his family had done spread like wildfire, thanks to the event's attendees. Ash, now exposed for his affair, lost all his sponsors and had to retire from professional golf, while his mistress also left the sport. Billy sued them both for $30,000 each in damages for the affair and successfully collected the payments. Ash's family, now infamous in their neighborhood as the heartless family who made their daughter-in-law live in a shed, was forced to sell their house and move away. Jobless and relying entirely on Ash's income, the family now lives in a rundown apartment, working part-time jobs from morning till night. It's all their own doing, and I feel no sympathy for them. As for Billy and me, we now live together. She's slowly recovering and currently working at Joshua's company. I'll continue to watch over her, hoping she finds true happiness one day. How did you like this story? Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.